May and Daisy are back in action. Coulson, Deke, and Mack deal with a traitor in their midst, and Ruby becomes the destroyer of worlds. Plus, contest info. It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 18. All roads lead. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yes, spoilers, well, more spoilers are coming if the opening didn't put out too many of them there. Alright, so barreling forward, lot of ground covered in this episode as we are moving towards the finale. Mostly really good stuff, only downside, Coulson didn't die. I mean, not that I want him to. But if my whole Avengers theory was going to work, he would have had to have been gone in this week. Because Infinity War, by the time we see next week's episode, I'll at least have already seen Infinity War, and I'm sure many of you will as well. So, whatever tie-in that we are going to have seems to possibly be with maybe the arrival of the Kree. At this point, we're just going to have to wait to watch the movie and see what happens. But this week's episode, like I said, a lot of story moving forward, a lot of great character work, and I want to start things off with Talbot, kind of where the episode itself opened up, because he had a lot of my personal emotional feels and pulls in this episode. One, the fact that he's been programmed by Hydra, really showing a long-term plan on Hale's part, and especially as the episode started out, he seemed much more in control of his senses, a lot more focused. Now that could just be because he is following a mission. But it does make me wonder, did he get this mission while he was on the phone with his wife? Is that part of what she was reading off? Or is this whole mission already pre-planned and pre-programmed into him? I was really liking the idea that Hale had really done a long-term plan, fixed Coulson, gave him the illusion, the personality, outward demeanor of being not so bat so crazy, a little unhinged. And then once he turned, being totally focused and able to take care of the mission. And I don't know, as the episode went on, he definitely seemed a little less kind of necessarily in control of his senses. Definitely a lot of personal conversations with himself. But it still seemed that this was kind of a complex plan. I still like the idea that Hale pre-programmed this all in, and the call to his wife just sort of activated him. But, like I said, a lot of the emotional ups and downs. Taking out Polly, God, I was really concerned that it was Talbot that killed Polly. That's when that whole scene went down and he kind of did that turn inside their bedroom. Oh man, I was like, no, don't do this. This would be more than Talbot could deal with. She did just knock him out, just put her to sleep. That's when Coulson said that she was breathing, so that was a bit of a sigh of relief. But then when he's confronted by Mack and Coulson, and I love Coulson using the programming against him, knowing so much about Bakshi's programming all the way from back in the days of Whitehall, Season 2, that was awesome. That, you know, that you have to comply. Compliance will be rewarded. It was just, again, this is Coulson as an intelligent, smart director, as a smart agent pulling all of his resources on. So I love that little bit. That was a great twist in that scene. But when Talbot put the gun onto himself, it was like, no! Talbot's gone through so much, he's connected with the team, and really, I've enjoyed him so much these past few episodes, and to see that he was potentially going to take himself out, ennobling in one way, but also really still just a victim of Hydra's programming. But then Coulson, doing what he has been, kind of the thing that got May a little upset with him, putting himself in danger. I mean, Coulson's always willing to put himself into danger. That's part of his character. But here again, almost asking for death. To put the gun on me from a very unstable Hydra plant, you know. not necessarily good decision making right there on Coulson's part, but it does work out. Mack, of course, on top of things, gets Robin away, pops out with the icer, boom, boom, and Talbot is down. So good resolution, but man, a lot of feels on my part going on following Talbot's little adventure there. As for the rest of the stuff there in the lighthouse, just great scenes between Coulson, Mack, and Deke. That was awesome. First off, very obvious how much Deke feels for Daisy, even without the sort of drug influence that he had coming out of surgery last week. That's how Mack knows. Coulson's already filled it out. Deke playing like, oh, that's entirely crazy. Does he know himself? Does he realize it? I think so. He certainly seemed willing to ask, well, if this was the case, what would I do? And of course, the two men that are also in the midst of heavy relationship issues. Anyway, that was all great, really enjoyable. Plus, they are getting the Zephyr ready for spaceflight, so works if the future comes to pass the way that they don't want it to, or you know, can always use a space-worthy Zephyr. Now, of course, while Mack is having problems with Yo-Yo as she locked him in the jail and ran away with Fitzs and Simmons, Coulson, of course, dealing with the fallout from May's little mic drop, I love you, last week. And I love how May is so mad. She doesn't even let him talk. He tries to come up and like, hey, I didn't think we were done the conversation. I said what I needed to. We're done. Boom. Again, second mic drop. Even Coulson says it. Good talk there. Good conversation. But that does give May a lot of, let's say, frustration. She has a lot of aggression to get out as she tells Daisy, which, of course, takes us to our Scene of the Week for this week, because it's been a long time coming, baby. Oh, and a beautiful intro. Look, Mark Kolpak, I've said it several times, his effects are awesome. Every week he does amazing stuff. The Gravitonium stuff was great. All the Ruby stuff lying around and powers and stuff, always very good, very impressive. But the drop. I mean, first it starts off, we've got May and Daisy, you know, May saying, yeah, I've got a lot of aggression to get out. Getting into the drop pod and have that little grin behind him like, okay, we're back into it. The two of them, ever since season two, beginning of season 2, when we had May training Daisy, the two of them fighting together is always such a treat. And since May's been out of it with her injury all season, really the first chance to get in to see May doing some stuff. And it was just a beautiful bit. I love the drop down. I love the effects, the fiery, the missile dropping down to give the big distraction explosion as they drop down underneath it. Go right into the building and just start kicking ass. The whole setup was beautiful. It was a great fight. We definitely have some double work happening with May, which is fine. She's doing a great job by herself. You can see the work that she is doing. They got a great stunt team. They make the whole thing look seamless and beautiful. It was just really energizing to see the two of these girls just kicking butt again. Also, Hydra has men. That was good to know with all the mechs gone. It was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, Hydra does actually have people, because it seemed to be all mechs. It seemed to be just mechs and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ruby, and that was it. But I guess with the mechs gone, that they found some guys to beat up. So that was fun. That was cool. But I also loved even that confrontation up with S.H.I.E.L.D. Is S.H.I.E.L.D. just sees where it's going. She knows exactly what's going on. She already got the notice that Ruby and Von Strucker are doing the crazy, and just turns herself in. S.H.I.E.L.D's an intelligent villain, antagonist, really, at this stage. And I love the fact that she was just willing to step up. No, we're done. Turn it in. We don't have time to fight. We don't have time for any of this. We need to get to the facility. Ruby and Von Strucker, they're going to be joining up the Gravitonium, and Fitzs and Simmons are there. So it's, again, brings everybody together, gives them the reason to fight together. So a bunch of butt kicking, some great effects, and logical characters work, logical story work moving forward. Let's not waste time fighting. There's worlds to save. Okay, well, world to save, to be technically honest. But speaking of getting to our destroyer of worlds, a lot of emotion also in this. And I love, with everything that we've had with Fitzsimmons, you know, over the years, that they now have their rulers. They never leave each other's side. You know, they can't lose each other again. They've always got to be there. And it's such a perfect setup for them being in this position from a argument of changing the future type of ideal. Because they know that they can't go through with this. They know that they can't help Von Strucker and Ruby fix the machine. On the other hand, they know that they can't let each other get hurt. They can't lose each other. So it was a perfect position to put them in for that conflict of time change. Can you change the future? But changing the future would mean that I have to do something I could never do. So it was a wonderful way to put them into the situation. And Ruby and Von Strucker really seem to have a connection here. You know, in some ways, you get a feel for it. We had the little Fitzsimmons couple there dealing with the Von Strucker Ruby, Rooker. I'm not good at shipper names. Though Ruby likes Fitzsimmons as a ship. That was also kind of fun. But it was kind of sweet seeing the two of them together. You know, you never know how much Ruby is manipulating Von Strucker and how much is Von Strucker got his own agenda or just a sucker, you know, wanting kind of attention, wanting that connection, a reason to be, as it were. But they really did seem to have a strong connection, which means especially after Ruby gets the machine, the box is fixed, they have that nice kiss moment. They have that real connection. And then when Ruby gets in the machine and it all goes bad and they pull her out, Strucker pushes S.H.I.E.L.D away. I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D tries to come in first off. Oh, Ruby, my darling. But just pushes her away. He is the one to connect with her. They are the ones that have the connection. It was really strong. It was a great moment. Which, of course, made the whole crushing of his head just, I mean, painful for him. I mean, for like that long. But really, that loss, and we're seeing again. This is the weakness of Ruby's character. It's not her fault. I love also that Daisy had said that to S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not her fault she is who she is. Heck, she's strong and she's driven. She could even be a great S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. I mean, there's that great potential of turning things around. Daisy in this episode really is stepping into that leadership potential. I love that they have those scenes where Coulson does see it, and when she's on the Zephyr and she's ordering the troops around, she's falling very naturally into it. They're really evolving that character great. And the fact that she can see that there's more than one option in dealing with Ruby, that she's really trying to do the right thing in dealing with it, I thought was a great bit of character work for her. But Ruby, I mean, you could see in all of these scenes, all that Ruby and Von Strucker had to deal with Fitzsimmons was violence. I'll hurt you, I'll cut you up, I'll hurt this other person. There's no depth, there's no manipulation, there's no style in any of that. It was just straightforward, I'll beat you up, I'll cut you up, I'll hurt the person you love. I mean, it's effective, but again, we've had great villains who can do a lot more depth things and manipulate and charisma and discuss and have many layers and things going on. And all that Ruby and Von Strucker had was violence. It's just a personal weakness. They've got nothing else to pull off of. And then we can see Ruby after getting Quinn and Hall in her head and the whole nutty craziness going on that poor Creel's dealing with, barricading himself in the corner of the room. You could see she just immediately fell apart. She had no capacity to deal with that. She had no real mental strength. She had no discipline to fall back on, which I think ultimately became the reason why she ended up dying. Well, okay, no, the reason she ended up dying was, of course, Yo-Yo, who, kind of a rough episode for her, and really making that last shot. The minute she saw she's the destroyer of worlds, there was only one choice for Yo-Yo, and was it the right one? So yeah, was the timeline changed? I mean, from the offset it seems to. Yo-Yo just killed a destroyer of worlds. That should have taken care of things. And we did have that kind of moment where we have the dead Ruby body just then start floating up, and then we get that giant explosion of light and things, and then Hale disappears. I think through that's when Hale just did some emergency comm to shoot herself up to the Confederacy ship right there. But I was wondering for a moment, with Ruby dead, is this Hall and Quinn now taking over the body? Is the gravitonium infused in her still alive? And that's what that reaction was. It's possible. It seemed to dissipate. Perhaps, you know, how much is Hall and Quinn inside? Were they in all the gravitoniums, or just some of it went into her, just 8% of them? Or were the ones guiding the gravitonium through that little pipe that was sort of surprising Fitzs and Simmons there? Oh my God, seeing that. Was that the consciousness manipulating the gravitonium so that they put themselves inside of Ruby? And so when she died, perhaps they died also, and that was their final essence shooting off. Could be, or they could be traveling and getting ready to cause some more problems. So we'll put that part as kind of a maybe. But we do have Daisy wearing the same gauntlets, the same outfit as we saw in Zeke's little video that we saw way back in the future. Every time I say that, when they say this was the last time that Daisy was seen, she gets out of the Quinjet, or the Zephyr, I think it was a Quinjet, and goes inside. And she did have the kind of silverish gauntlets that she was wearing today. Now, we didn't see any more from at least today's perspective. Is this that particular shot of Daisy? It seems to imply that. She did seem to be alone, and here she's in with a group, so perhaps some adjustments have already been saved. Perhaps even May making sure that Coulson stays, though she hasn't learned Yo-Yo's secret yet, so that would be a different. Anyway, maybe something like that has changed. So, definite possibility in that sense. Also, I mean, the main point is that Quake doesn't really have the power to shake apart. This definitely seemed to be a gravitonium bit, and if Ruby did become the actual destroyer of worlds and she is dead, then there is no one else that's going to crack that up. Robin did say when Talbot was showing the little drawings there, and we had the little stick figure over the cracking Earth, we couldn't identify who that was by the stick figure. There wasn't any definitive outfit there. But she was saying that that is soon. So this does fit within all of that time frame. But maybe the biggest hint that was given to us is in the actual very opening in the episode. And all these past episodes, when we get to see the Earth pop up and it does Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you can hear a cracking of the Earth each time as the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo came up. Tonight's episode, you didn't. It was more of an alien type sound. But we didn't hear the actual cracking of the Earth. So it's a small little hint thing, but I think with all these pieces, the likelihood that we have now is that this seems to have passed. Unless, now that Hale told our alien group where S.H.I.E.L.D. is and that they have the gravitonium, that perhaps the assault on the lighthouse is going to crack open the rift, and that's going to cause problems. But, on the other hand, we also know that the lighthouse survives the destruction of the Earth, so that's not really where it all goes down. So again, seems to be that the timeline did change, and Yo-Yo did, in fact, save the Earth. Alright, just a couple of small things. One, Anton, the Superior, is definitely dead. I wasn't sure last week. I mean, there was a lot implied that he was. Certainly with the mechs going down, that seemed to be the most obvious answer. And looking back on it, there was a pool of blood or dark liquid really behind his head after Yo-Yo crashed through the window. However, they seemed to be very clear earlier on in stating how much that, his head, that Hale had his head in a jar. And that even earlier in the episode that he was the man that can't be killed. Really seemed to reinforcing the multiple body superior that we know. Now, of course, he can't create any more LMDs because Ada's gone. But since he's controlling it creating a bot that can look human but not necessarily imitate human, that seems to be a lot easier. And if Anton was controlling it himself, it's just, I just expected a lot more from that. I just wish it was clear. The show's usually much better at being clear when they make these changes. And I think there was a small hint that Hale, when he was talking to her little second in the hallway, who sent her off to Talbot's place, and then we saw today when May and Daisy landed in Hale's HQ, that Anton that was his actual head on the body. But I don't know, it bummed me out. I like Zach McGowan. It's bummed to see him gone. But I just wish they were a little bit clearer that this was Anton's actual head and this was his one life. I mean, he even told Yo-Yo, "I've died many times." Usually don't say that when you can potentially die right now. I just wish they were clear. Oh, so the picture, Robin's little picture, we originally saw actually at the beginning of the season, the beginning of the whole season was the same one that was on Enoch's refrigerator. And that is, of course, of the giant body with a bunch of little bodies in them. Always wondered what that means. That seems to be implying Ruby, with Hall and Aiden Quinn being put, her with the gravitonium, the living gravitonium, put inside of her, so she has those multiple people inside of her body. That seems to be what they implied. 8%, only 8% of the gravitonium put inside of Ruby's body. And she was that powerful. Imagine if they had given her any more of that. She probably also would have lost it instantly to the Hall and Quinn personalities. Mack and Coulson looking at little Robin's drawing. Is it a bird? No, it's a plane. Yeah, haha, Superman. They have so much fun in this show. Yeah, I was definitely worried about Yo-Yo this episode. I mean, we know that she survives, but we also know the timeline should be changing here, so anything could happen. But I liked her dealing with all the complexities of her arms. Again, this wasn't just a one-shot deal that sort of inhibited her for a moment, that this really has constantly affected her, and that every time that she tried to use her powers, it just made everything worse. It gave a great element, a great struggle to her character for this episode. Certainly seeing at the end when she sees Ruby and the potential death of the world happening right in front of her, that even if that would have torn her arms off, she was going to do the exact same move. And lastly, contest time! Alright, so as a big thank you to all of you awesome agents for watching, commenting, sharing, helping me get to 1,000 subscribers and more, I'm going to throw out a little contest, a little way of me saying thank you to all of you. So, what am I giving away here? Giving away an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. badge with a nice leather badge holder. Look very official. Be your own official Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. But it's not going to be just that. You can't just have the S.H.I.E.L.D. You got to have some more serious memorabilia. We got to support our director who may be on his final adventure. Better not be. And with that, we're going to get you a copy of Phil Coulson's guaranteed near mint condition Captain America trading cards. Well, most of them are in near mint condition, about half. The others, I don't know, little extra memento from Avengers. So, really nice couple of sets here. Be your own agent, support Coulson, have a badge, have his Captain America trading cards. Now, how do you win these wonderful things? Well, two things. First off, be a subscriber. That's easy. Just hit that little button there below this video. You're halfway there. But second, it's going to take a little bit of effort on your part, and I want you to, in the comments below, tell me your favorite Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. scene, moment, part of history, anytime over these past 5 seasons. Was it when Hydra was first revealed? Was it Whitehall's assault on S.H.I.E.L.D.? Was it second S.H.I.E.L.D.? Maybe it was a little bit of Hive action, or maybe it was Ghost Rider, LMD, any of those. Maybe even this season, going against the Kree. Tell me your favorite moment, your favorite sequence. Share with me the love that you have for this show, and that will earn you an entry. Going to collect all of them up this week, and by next week, just after Infinity War, when we hit next week's show, I'll go ahead and name a winner. Gonna make it nice, fair, just throw your own name in a hat, pull one out, boom. Unless we get a whole bunch of entries, then we may have to figure out something else. So, subscribe, tell me your favorite Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. scene, earn an entry, win a badge, and Captain America trading cards. Alright, so that's gonna wrap things up. Now, this time next week, we'll have already seen Infinity War. I'm gonna have to try and keep things down. So yes, in some ways, my theory of Phil Coulson dying, being brought back in Infinity War, and then returning back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to finish off the season, refreshed, reborn, ready to lead, doesn't really seem to be happening. Doing a great job with turning Daisy into a leader there. But still, I want Phil back. So that's all definitely going to happen just in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But will there be a big tie-in? We have the aliens, a Confederacy now arriving down to get their gravitonium. Are they going to be riding with Thanos' group? Is this going to be separate? Will there going to be a tie-in? Are they, I don't know, how are they going to do all of this? We'll have to sort of wait and see, but I'm really looking forward to it. So, next week, Thursday night, I'm seeing the 8 o'clock show of Infinity War, and then of course we will be back here with some more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But that's going to wrap us up for this week. Thank you so much for joining me on this review, and if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, favorite S.H.I.E.L.D. scenes, throw those down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. But again, if you want to be in the contest, you've got to be a subscriber. Plus, you'll catch all the rest of these reviews. Legion, Westworld 2, Season 2 starts this weekend. So much great stuff. Click this button, you're a subscriber. And then we'll throw up a couple of past reviews for you to check out right here. All right, so that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.